So, we talked a little bit about identity in the last show. Ha- and we've covered, finding your purpose and your mission, right? But what is Sean? Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Bro, after looking at this last year, man, I really don't know. Like to see the growth of this last year has really shocked me, right? I didn't expect I started off just wanting to do a simple event, right? And it just kind of blossomed into a whole lot of other things. So, what to expect from Sean over the next 5 years? You can probably expect a couple books. Um, I'm definitely going to get more into the community, more outreach work, uh, do some more community events. Create. I would love to collaborate more with more life saving organizations here in town. So man, I really I don't know how to answer that question because things are growing so fast that it's kind of shocking.
So, when you go into recovery, you need to learn some new skills, some new coping mechanisms, and ways to deal with trauma and stuff like that. In growing over the next 5 years, what's a skill you want to learn?
I want to learn, man. And I've been thinking about
And
this,
it's
right?
okay to not know. That's the other great thing about growth and discipline and self personal responsibility. You grow into those things. So if you don't have an answer, it's okay. But
Well,
most
no,
people won't
so
tell you that it's
so
okay.
I'm wrapping up my psychology degree. I'm on the back end of that, and so, but I was kind of at a crossroads to say, what do I want to do afterwards, right? Because again, there's going to be a void once that goes away, and people always tell me like I'm a great coach, but I'm a horrible businessman. So I think after I wrap this up, I'm probably going to end up taking like some marketing classes. Stay in school. School's always been good for me. It does create some stress at times, but overall, it's been wonderful for my growth. So I don't know if I'm just going to stop with one degree. I might jump into something else.
So would you say that's a positive challenge you're taking on, right? Is to continue school?
Yeah, well, I mean, it to continue school, but like those are things I need to learn, right? To how to extend my reach, how to build the business that I have, and maybe possibly another. Marketing and advertising. I would definitely like to get into just to and it can be for my business, can be for other businesses, be for other people. So that's one thing for me that's always bothered me about the recovery community, right? Is kind of shrouded in anonymity, and it's frustrating when you're trying to collaborate with other organizations, but they have this shroud over them that says, "No, we're just going to be quiet and sit in our little corner." And so, but I think recovery needs to be loud and proud. You know what I mean?
I would
I
I would
think it needs to be
say
voiced. It needs to be something that is more in the streets. It needs to. We need more community events. We need more people getting on board with the recovery movement, right? Because I had a mentor tell me, if you want to get rich in the world, solve rich people's problems, right? As a recovery coach, I work with mostly middle income to no income people, right? You have the prison system out of control. You have all these things that are making addiction progressive, right? So I would like to learn how to reach those people who can be of benefit, right? In a way to show them that by working recovery programs, adding elements of recovery into our community benefits the growth of our community versus leaves us in this perpetuating cycle of sickness where we're destroying each other. And hate to say it, but we're kind of happy to do it.
oh, no, I would agree. I think it's a lack of education about what recovery is for those that aren't in recovery that's a huge problem, right?
Right.
That so education would be a great avenue and that's something you're working on too, because you've
Right.
got a great program coming
Yeah.
that people haven't seen yet, but they see aspects of that program in every one of your shows.
Right.
And so, to me, I can sit here and kind of see where you're going to go in the next 5 years, and I'll drag you kicking and screaming as far as I can, and then throw you at somebody else, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um,
Let's do it.
but I think that is what we don't see is that support. Like, people don't know how much we support you, cheer you on. Watching you speak at events it's a proud moment for us that support you.
Man, it trips me out, when we did the big Texas recovery rally, um, they put me up right before our mayor. You know what I mean? And I laughed when I saw the lineup, right? Because I'm like, do they know? You know what I'm saying? Do they know who I am? Like, you gonna put me up right before you put the mayor up?
Do they
Eh,
know your friend Mike threatened to punch the
You
mayor
know,
in the nads? Yeah. Yeah.
so but it was enlightening, right? And at that, I was nervous that entire event, man, because I co-hosted that event. Better Days Rain co-hosted that event, and they set our booth up right next to a Randall County judge. So I got to have this 2 hour nervous conversation with this judge, right? And I'm multiple felon, and she's asking me all these questions, and I'm just like, but it was enlightening, right? It was nice to be able to sit down next to her and her not see Shawn the addict.
Right. Well, because again, you're in recovery and you're no longer Shawn the addict.
Right,
You're
right,
you're
right.
Shawn in recovery, right? And we talked about that on another episode.
But you
That
still get that
identity,
feeling.
yeah.
It's that feeling like, you're gonna call me out.
Well, but that's also the reward, taking the risk of being outside of your comfort zone. If you want to be great, you got to be uncomfortable.
Oh, bro,
You
I
got to
tell
be
people
uncommon amongst the common,
I tell
right?
people all the time, man, if you want to really embrace recovery and not just sobriety, but really embrace recovery, everything in your mind that will benefit you, that you just don't want to do it,
Do
do
it
it.
anyway.
Do it anyway. And do it right then. Don't wait. Do it right then. It sucks at first, but once you get over those humps and you start racking up those wins,
It always sucks going to the gym, but guess what? Those that
bro,
go to the gym consistently have great results.
it took me a year to get this weight back, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, now we're
Well,
gonna
actually,
start.
it took me longer than a year. It took me a lot longer.
Well, we got you around people that don't eat healthy, so it's really not healthy weight that you're wearing. It's actually
It's
unhealthy weight.
married life, bro. That's what it is.
Yeah, and you got a good wife.
It's
So,
not McDonald's anymore. It's home cooked meals. It's pot roast and potatoes.
so we talked about a skill you want to, you want to keep continuing your education and grow. Marketing is a great avenue to get into.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand marketing as a holistic view, but the more you're around us, you kind of see where bits and pieces, you find those gaps when we sit and have conversations about recovery and creating this business and working this business. It's not easy. People don't get rich making podcasts. We're not Joe Rogan, right?
Not yet.
But
Let me get Joe Rogan on my show, and I'll be a Joe
you
Rogan.
just said what I was hopeful that you would say, which I knew because you've been around me long enough. You said yet.
Yeah.
And so you're only limited by those limiting beliefs. So how do you combat those limiting beliefs that you have in yourself or that other people may put on you, the limitations other people put on you? Because your conversation with the judge is a great example.
Bro,
She didn't put any limitations on you.
I just focus. No, and she actually asked me for my opinion on a lot of things, right? And I didn't want to be rude and say, well, a lot of it's because of the state, right? Because then she's gonna look at me like, "Arr." But a lot of the problems but I came to this realization, right? Even judges don't know,
No, you're absolutely right.
right? Because she was absolutely clueless to some of the reasons why recovery is so stunted, and I could sit there and tell her, but then she's gonna look back and So I didn't want to create those arguments with her right then and there, but it really did show me that some people just don't know the difficulties of it and the limitations that kind of the state and the government puts on it, right? Me as as a recovery coach, I can't accept insurance for clients. I would love to be able to accept insurance for clients. That would help me help so many more people because I don't like charging people.
Right.
I don't like it. I feel guilty every time I do it. So it's things like that to where it kind of hinders what we can do. Even counselors. I try to get counselors on the show and just they all give me nope, not doing it. And it's not because they don't want to help, because they don't want to lose the license.
Oh yeah, that's the same with lawyers, right? And judges can't have an opinion publicly about certain things, which is another issue for a whole nother slew of reasons, right? We put so many things in boxes. Um, I read a book one time is like women are like spaghetti and men are like waffles, right? So women's minds and how they think is like a plate of spaghetti. It's everywhere, right? It's kind of like an addict's mind.
Yeah.
It's ADHD on steroids, right?
Right.
But as you're in recovery, you have to prioritize and put things in boxes, and that's typically how men work. We're problem solvers. We look for things to fix. I forgot the guy's name. I gave you the book. You want a damsel to save and a battle to fight. And John
Wild at Heart.
Wild at Heart's the book.
I can't
but
think of the name of the
I
author.
totally drew a blank on the author. I know it's John.
Yeah.
Something. But that's how we are as men inherently, right?
Right.
And so it really makes it difficult when we put recovery in a box and we put how we live our lives in a box, and really thinking outside of those boxes is what frees us, not in a way that's necessarily helpful at times, because we face challenges every day in what we're trying to accomplish, but we never stop. We look for those avenues that get us out of a box,
Right.
or get us out of a dead end.
Right.
Do you think, with the way things are going in this last year, an exponential growth? Because that's what I see in your statistics. That's what I see in you, is exponential growth. What do you think one of your biggest challenges is going to be over the next year? Just for you, not in recovery, but just for what you're doing now. What do you think one of the biggest challenges is going to be?
My biggest challenge right now, and again, it's something I don't like to bring up, but it's finances. Right. Most of my job is service work. Uh, it's hard to convince people to donate or to help, right? And you really have to look to like local business owners to make charitable donations, things of that nature. Uh, you know, people to make those charitable donations. Because, and this is just my own personal opinion on it, and it's kind of the way I see my government leading it, is the recovery costs money, right? So it's easier to throw addicts in jail to make it so they can turn a profit. It's easier. So that's a big hurdle. Like, that's a big hurdle that we as a community need to get over.
Well, and I think the misconception, though, is like studies show, if we put $1 to getting someone clean and sober,
Oh.
we save money on healthcare costs. We save money on police
Oh.
infrastructure. We save money by donating to recovery programs, but we don't. There's no glamour to that.
No.
There's no glory to that. People don't see those savings because you have to be a statistician or, dig into that backstory
Right.
to learn that. Like, I only know that because I've done the work. I've done the research to look in, like, how can we get people to see the value of getting people clean and sober? And the value just sadly outweighs. Big pharma likes people fat and unhealthy because they got more drugs coming that they can give you and feed you. So,
Yeah. I mean, I'm in the streets a lot, right? I'm at the homeless shelters. I'm at the recovery meetings. I'm downtown a lot, Transformation Park. I'm I'm in I'm in it, right? And what I've seen over the last 6 months is a significant increase. I mean, it's drastic increase in suffering people, right? And that could be to a multiple. different reasons, but it's something people don't see. Whereas,
And I think this goes back to the education aspect of recovery. And maybe that's where I think I'd take the show this route. But if I gave you $50 to help somebody right now, you could use that $50 to help 10 different people,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
know, in a lot of
absolutely,
different ways.
in a lot of different ways.
So maybe that needs to be the focus of some of our future shows too, is how that money invested in recovery helps people.
Yeah.
Because I think that's another thing that doesn't get a lot of visibility. Um, sorry, I went on a tangent
Well,
there,
no, no,
but
no. So that's the whole reason of the podcast, right? I started going to recovery meetings, and I would sit there, and I've been in AA for about 4 years, and over the last 2 years, I have seen a drastic fall off in attendance.
yeah,
You get the only people who are returning are people who've been doing it for 15, 20 years, right? What we call the old heads, but predominantly what you see is you see young people come in, they sit down, and they leave, right? And you never see them again, or they're on probation or parole, and they have to come in and get their paper signed. And so what they do is they come in solely to satisfy that agreement with the state. They're not there to learn. They're not there to soak it in. They're on their phones. You know what I mean? They're just simply there to satisfy the state with it. And then once they're off, they never come back. Right. And so I looked at my population, right, in Amarillo, Texas, which is about 250,000, right? And I think between all the AA groups here, you may have 200 people a day
yeah.
between all the groups, right? Go through. And it would frustrate me, right? Because the AA rooms, they'd be like, this is a success. We're a success. You hear our city leaders go, recovery is a success. And I'm like, I'm looking at it like, no, we are epically failing. We are epically failing and lying about failing, So yeah, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel, but I wanted to create another avenue, right? Um, I kind of work off of a built different scheme where it's like, just because my degree of willingness may not be like someone else's degree of willingness doesn't mean I'm not willing. We're in two different places. Kind of like the Where You At podcast. You know what I mean? Like, it's just people are in different places. So I created the podcast because I wanted to extend the reach of recovery, right? I wanted to create another avenue and try to bring in as many people as I possibly can into recovery. Plant those seeds. Am I getting people sober? I'll never know.
Well, I think that's
And that's the humbling part of it, right? Is I do my part without putting an extreme expectation on it.
well, and I think people don't know the statistics. Again, we go back to educating people, right? So just in the 220,000 people that are in the Amarillo area, right? Up to 10% of them are in active addiction,
Yeah.
whether it be 5% that's in
I
alcohol
would say
addiction.
way more than that.
Yeah, well,
Honestly,
I mean, I'm not talking
Amarillo's
alcohol.
full of bars.
I'm talking not even alcohol,
Yeah.
just substance abuse or substance use disorders that they don't get treatment for is up to 10%.
Yeah, I agree.
So that'd be 2,000 people, and you're getting less than 1% showing up to
Less,
and
way less.
and so that's part stigma of and the shame that we as people put on addicts, but they don't understand the joy that comes from being in recovery. They don't see the good things, right? We just see all the people that are homeless, and I mean, you and I've spent some time in the last couple of weeks on the north side of town,
Yeah,
looking into a young lady who got hit by a truck.
yeah,
Didn't really want to talk about that today, but I think it's pertinent, right?
yeah.
She wants to get clean and sober. You had that conversation with her.
Yeah.
But now she's in the hospital.
Yeah.
And she's getting sober.
She's
Not how she
sober.
wanted, but the cops treated her differently because she was homeless.
Absolutely.
Other people, reading the stories and comments on Facebook are atrocious at times.
Yeah.
But in this particular instance, you saw that homeless community come together to rally around this young lady. Like tons of people going to see her. Like,
And that was really cool. We even had some local restaurants offer to cook the family meals up at the hospital. Big shout out to the people down at Guyman Saunders for letting us go around and talk to people out there, and places like TPC, Texas Panhandle Centers. They offered counseling to those who saw it.
yep.
And they were coming down there to pick them up. So you did see a community gathering. Shanna James from Monjera's project, she came down there to make sure people were cool. So but there was not going to run about it, right? There was an extreme frustration with the police.
Oh yeah.
You
Well, and
know?
it's not just them; it's other people as well. Like I mean, I see other aspects of it because I was digging into this pretty hard as a investigator, right?
Right.
Um, so yeah, there's some gaps, and those are the most frustrating for me because I want to see you flourish, and
Yeah.
we can't do that if this community can't get their head out of their butt long enough to figure out how to make how to serve each other. Your service work is huge. Like people don't understand. I don't think people give you the credit you deserve or even what you're trying to accomplish. They see it as maybe unfruitful.
A lot of people do like see it, and then of course you're going to have those naysayers, right? And then you're going to have those people that say he just likes being in front of the camera. You know what I mean? So some of them think I'm full of ego. What they don't realize is I don't get paid a dime off of none of this.
Oh, I love it. I love it when people go, "Oh, you just want to be on the camera." No, there's a reason why I just sit over here. I have a voice, a face for radio. But I think that's the most powerful, one of the most powerful weapons we have in our little arsenal is, you're not getting rich off this.
Yeah.
You
Well, and I
are,
mean, it's what's my purpose? What's my goal? Was my goal to get rich? No, my goal was to help people, right? And 100,000 views in 6 months lets me know I'm helping people.
and in a year from now, we're gonna be at 1 million.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that's a great goal.
Yeah, bro. And at the end of the day, it gave me purpose to life, right? There's people that stop me, say thank you all the time. I've had people pull me over at the gas station. Hey, bro, we see your podcast. And then you get the comments, where people will say, "Hey, man, I really needed to hear that today. I really needed to hear that story today." And that was kind of another thing is power of testimony, right? The power of testimony not only helps free me from, again, the bondage of my past, but it creates hope for other people. And sometimes I'll post a video and I'm looking at it and I'm like, that's not such a video. I don't really like that video, right? But then I think in the back of my mind, it's not always about me, right? Somebody needs to hear that.
What about my heroes?
Well, you want to be super profound, right? You want to say something that's just like that grabs. But a lot of times the stuff that grabs is that simple relationship with it, right? Where somebody else can bond to what you say, apply it to their life, and it could be groundbreaking for them.
Well, I think this goes back to another conversation we've had where that discipline to do this day in and day out, even when you don't want to,
Yeah.
it not only benefits you, but it benefits those people that need to hear that message
Right.
because you do deliver a message of hope.
And that's the whole point.
And you do it in a way that I could never do. I mean, I could sit at that table and talk about the same topics, but it wouldn't mean as much.
Well, you're a part of it. You're sitting over there. Even though you don't want to sit on the camera screen, which we're going to change that, guys. Y'all comment. If y'all want Mike on the screen, comment. And we'll make him do it. We'll make him.
Yeah, like and share. Get 1,000 shares on this and I'll sit on the table.
1,000 shares, y'all. 1,000 shares. Mike will sit at the table.
Yep, 1,000 shares and I'll sit at the table.
All right. Well, I think we can about wrap this one up, right?
Yeah, the only other I had
Okay.
one more question.
All right.
What do you think about doing a year in review show and have a couple of your guests come back from this last year and we just kind of wrap it up? Maybe do like a Thanksgiving's coming up. Let's do like a Thanksgiving follow up. It's great having Tyler here.
I
I
would
love
love
it when he comes back, but I think we should have a couple other past
Yeah.
guests come in.
And I've been asking around. You know what I'm saying? Again, I would like to have some bigger name people come on, but of course I got to pay those people. And, so speaking of that, the great way to support the Better Days Rain mission is to visit our store. We want to bring some of the, people with PhDs, other influencers, people in recovery who have, become. I would love to hear Robert Downey Jr.'s story. Personally,
Oh yeah.
I would love to have him on the show. He's kind of an inspiration to me. He's one of those, But people that who have been really impactful in the recovery community and been a success in their own lives. We'd like to get those people on the show. Of course, that costs a little bit of money. So if you could support the Better Days Radio, you can visit our Printify store. We sell T-shirts, hats, mugs, lots of memorabilia, and we got candles, great smelling candles, hats. Yeah, or you can reach out to me at Shawn@betterdaysrain.com. Um, that is my email. You can hit me up if you would like to become a guest on the show or want some information. What we do one-on-one coaching. We can facilitate group coaching. Which the group coaching, I love doing the group coaching. Did that for a really big group about 6 months ago, and the guys in that group really thrived, and it was really cool. So yeah, reach out. We're on just about every major platform you can think of: iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We're on everything. So you can find us just about anywhere. Please like, share, and comment, man. The more y'all share this stuff, the further our reach goes, right? And you may not suffer from addiction, but somebody might, And so it's always good to help spread the word, so we can plant those seeds for recovery and really be a benefit to our community and to everybody, really. Thank you. I'm out.
Okay, we just